Chicago 60. Shout out to DJ Self-Born for the track. I was gonna show my brother's love, you know what I'm saying?
Hey everybody! Happy New Year! Happy holidays! It's time for the new and improved Chicago 60 podcast, and we are super excited to be back and be bringing you amazing content all year. And tonight we have an amazing episode for you. Episode 32. It's gonna be real true is what it's gonna be. And I tell you what, you know why? Because we're gonna be talking about some very interesting topics. Tonight we are talking about STEM. We're not talking about something after you eat a cherry. No, we're talking about science, technology, engineering, and math. We're going to be talking about that with our special guest, who we will get to in just a second. We're also going to be talking about schools. Do they exist? We don't know anymore because some of them don't have enough enrollment. We're going to be talking about what's going on in Chicago with that. And of course, we end every episode of the Chicago 60 with the Jag-Off of the Week. It's all of that on episode 32 of the Chicago 60 podcast. And now, gentlemen, it is time for the
podcast. Yeah.
All right.
It'll be better next week. We're back. We had a hiatus, but we're back.
We are back. Well, hey, welcome everybody. It's time for that wonderful Monday, 7:30 p.m. new and improved. Everybody's here podcast, the Chicago 60. We're so happy to be back. I am your illustrious host, Justin J. War. Sitting across from me is my co-host and extraordinaire person. It is.
What's up, y'all? Ron Russ in the building. Y'all already know what it is.
What's up, Ron? How are you?
What's going on? I'm good, man. How you doing, man?
I'm feeling fantastic.
You sounding great.
Fantastic.
You sounding like your vocals been had a workout this morning or something.
I took a lot of drugs.
Ooh,
No, I'm kidding.
what kind?
Meds. Real meds.
Real meds. Not the medical marijuana.
No, because it's legal now. And
that's right.
Hey, new and improved Illinois, or so we think. And we have in the booth our main man. We got Storm and Quiet. Storm and Norman. Hello, Quiet Storm and Norman. How are you?
Quiet.
I'm doing pretty good.
Look at this. I just love that he's just like, he's holding a camera. He's YouTube living. We're Facebook living. He's camera operating.
If y'all could see Norm, it's like he got like 8 arms, y'all. He's got
crazy.
Yeah, he's an octopus. I wasn't gonna say it, but you said it for me.
He's Ursula from Little Mermaid. Sing us a tune, Norm.
Don't.
Damn it, I was just about to show
I
my
know he's about to.
I
I
know,
want you
yeah.
to stay on point because you're crushing it right now.
Yeah, he's
straight
crushing.
He's crushing it, man.
Now, we have an amazing episode for you tonight. This is the first episode of 2020. And before I introduce our special guest, I just want to let you all know that we have some amazing stuff coming from Chicago 60. And quick special announcement, we are also, later this year, going to be introducing our 2 new companies, which are Blue Line Entertainment Group, LLC, and JNR Media, LLC. And we are super pumped to be bringing all that to you because what does that mean for you, the viewers? Well, we are going to be having a Patreon account that is already up, but we're going to be launching that very soon. We're going to be having a huge launch party later this year, introducing everything. We've done some short films. We've done some new comedy videos already that are coming out later this week. There is a lot of new amazing content in addition to this podcast coming out for all of you, just like we said in 2019. Well, now it's happening, motherfuckers. Get excited. It's happening. So we're really pumped about that. More about that at the end of the episode, but I'm just too geeked. Also, we're on Spotify now. So if you're listening to this on iTunes, you may also be listening to this on Spotify.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, I'm excited about that.
I'm very excited about that. And so are a lot of other people because it's dope as shit.
Dope as shit.
Yes. Now let's get on to the main topics.
That's right.
But before we get to the main topics, we have to introduce our special guest
Yeah,
who's going to help us talk about our main topic.
I'm in here today.
He's got a jacket on. Now
He
I
does have a
feel
jacket.
down dressed.
Look at
This
this
is
guy.
redundant.
Who is this guy?
Who is this guy? I'm going to tell you, Ron. Right next to me, to my right, we have my good pal, Udit Agarwal, founder, creator, president, CEO of Next Wave STEM, which is an amazing company that is doing phenomenal work. You can go and check it out if you want right now. If you're watching, Next Wave STEM, all one word.com. And Udit is creator, founder of this organization, this company, and what he's doing. And I'll let him explain a little bit more better than me in a second. But for the gist of it is he's helping youth, the youth in Chicago, and ideally, I would imagine all around the nation at some point, inner city kids and everything, get more excited about the STEM thing we were talking about, science, technology, engineering, and math, because that is the future of our human race, and America is kind of dipping in those areas. So Udit is a man who's trying to correct that problem, and that is
all by
one hell of a
himself.
feat. He doesn't wear a cape. Not all heroes wear a cape.
I know, right?
Sometimes they wear sport coats.
Just like you.
So everybody, give it up for Udit Agarwal. What's up, man?
What's going on, bro?
How are
Thanks for
you,
having
sir?
me, first of all.
Of course. Thanks for coming on here.
Yes. And man, excited to be here and just talk about STEM. It's so important.
Yes, it is.
Tell us why.
So important.
Tell everybody.
Before we get into it, now that we've introduced everybody, cheers to the podcast, everybody.
Cheers, man.
Cheers to you, Norm. Okay. And I am drinking out of my new fancy glass, which says I can't adult today, because I can't, or any day. So there you go.
Hey, real quick.
We're cultured over here. That's okay,
real
everybody.
quick, shout out to Chad, who's watching the stream right now.
All right, thank you to Chad watching the stream. What's up? All right, now Ron, you had a question.
My question is, why is STEM important? I understand why. That's why two of my kids went to Newberry, so I know the drill.
Nice.
So tell everybody out here why STEM is important.
So Justin just a few minute ago mentioned how STEM is the future. So actually, I'm gonna start with STEM is actually the now. Things are happening right now that STEM is so important. So the way job market works, the actual jobs are changing the way they're hiring for, because the whole job landscape has changed, right? The skills that we're learning in school at NIU and throughout, K-12, college, it's a little bit outdated to what we're learning, what we learned back then, and STEM is more. There's relevancy. There's more to STEM, which is focusing on like 21st century skills, which we talk about in the program, on how all of those skills are really teaching kids about creativity, problem solving, failing without fear. And a lot of those components that are just good things to learn and for just normal life, not even just related to jobs, but there are so many other components in STEM that are just, it makes you a better individual. I'll just say that.
That's great.
And then the actual the science, technology, engineering, mathematics part, the actual like content and lessons, they are preparing students to spark their interest first of all, because a lot of times when you hear technology, and if you're not very like comfortable, you're kind of
get intimidated.
You get intimidated. It's very easy to get intimidated, and you kind of just like, this is not something that's not for me. Like,
but the kids, they don't even know. They don't even know for them, because
right.
They're just automatically pushing it away. It's like, I might not be able to do that.
Right, because if there is a platform that actually gives you a full exposure, then as a student, you'll be more open to learning more about it.
Very true.
But if there's no platform, and if you just see pieces here and there, then you just get intimidated and just kind of never look back to technology, and you don't look at STEM the same way. But STEM is really about having fun and learning skills that are fun and that are preparing you for jobs of the future and jobs of the now. There was a quote that a study by Dell published that 80% of the job market has changed or is going to change in the next 10 years, and the kids and students that are in the grade school, like we need to prepare them for those jobs right now. So by the time they graduate, they're ready for those jobs of the now and the future.
Hey, dude, I think you're doing a great thing, man.
Thank
You are. So hey, kudos, real talk.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a thing that the statistics are already out there. I'll see if I can pull up the actual statistics. I was doing some research for this, but America, USA. We are not as good in this area as many would think. We should be doing a lot better considering the technology. America, ironically enough, well, I don't know if it's ironically, but America is more of a services-oriented company.
Yep.
We do more services now. All the manufacturing is really, there's not a whole lot. It's kind of moving out of.
Outsourcing.
We're not going to get into that. Delegated.
That's a whole
other
conversation.
That's a whole other cast of characters.
Yeah.
And we're just focusing on some STEM. But the Asian countries are fucking crushing it.
They're crushing it.
And Scandinavia.
You're right. The Asian
Scandinavia.
the Asian countries are killing it, and they've always been killing it.
That's correct. But there's just more of an emphasis on that.
It is.
Udit, there's a couple of things I want to talk to you about here in this segment, which we're calling STEM Then versus STEM Now.
Really? Okay, I'm sorry.
Okay, I don't want to waste more time staring. Staring blankly into the camera. I'm
looking at you.
Yeah, I know. So what I found very interesting, because America was kind of a leader in this area in the past, ironically enough, and now it's dipped. And I don't know the reason why, so I'm gonna
know either.
No, okay, cool. Well, that answers that. So we don't really know entirely. I think it's just been a natural progression where, I mean, America is still one of the top innovators in the world, next to, again, some of the Scandinavian countries. But the USA just has more people than those areas, and we just have more that we just make stuff. That's what we come up with ideas, and then other places make stuff where we come up with ideas. But there doesn't seem to be an emphasis, as much as it seems like there's I'm going to retract that. There seems to be an emphasis on the STEM. I have a lot of questions, a few questions I want to get to. First thing first, let's stick with Chicago for a moment here. Because your company is Chicago based at the moment.
Absolutely.
Okay, question number one. I'm looking at your website here. It's a lovely website, as someone who used to sell and critique websites. One of my former jobs. Now, tell us a little bit about your company and the programs that you have. I see there's a few of them here. I see this supplemental STEM curriculum, STEM after school programs, and then some professional developments. You've got some different things you're offering. So give us a brief synopsis of that, if you would. And then part two of that, I'd love for you to explain very briefly some of the trends you're seeing here in the Chicago schools, what's working and what isn't working. So I give that to you, sir.
So I worked in the school system, my first job out of college. Interestingly enough, I never thought I would end up in the education space.
Really?
Yeah.
Despite you having a great education program,
Yeah.
you were not in education.
I was
you were
not.
with me in the business.
Yes, I was in the business school, and but yeah, first job turns out to be for Chicago Public Schools, not as a teacher, but more on the administrative side. And that really just allowed me to, learn more about like like being born in India, never really saw like the city school system before. So like really seeing it first time, and getting a chance to visit schools, kind of see things.
How did you feel when you first saw the inside workings of the Chicago school system?
Oh boy.
To be honest, it was like, okay.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You didn't feel like outdated books or kids not being where they should be overall? Or
so, yeah.
Or did you luck up you were at a school that actually had excuse my French, had their shit together?
Yeah. So I grew up in India. I did until my 10th grade in
Okay.
India. And so when I went to school there, we didn't have a whole lot of technology.
Okay.
I don't even know what the hell we were learning back then. Like they were teaching us some program called,
Something that isn't being used anymore.
I've never seen it like practically used anywhere.
Okay.
Like they were teaching us something which I had no clue. I can't even remember. Let's say that. So
Okay.
that's a bad sign. If you learn something and you're having a hard time remembering,
It
not
probably
relevant.
wasn't something you need to learn.
Right. But yeah. So school I went to, it was a decent school for the standards of the city I was in.
Okay.
Wasn't like a metro city. It was like a mid-tier city.
Gotcha.
Where I went to school. And yeah, so when I saw, got to visit a few schools in Chicago, like, okay, I kind of started to understand the system of the schools and how they operate, which is very different because in India, most of the schools are private.
Okay.
Like I want to say maybe like over 90% of the schools
Wow.
are private. Yeah.
Didn't know that.
Thinking that.
So the country invests in like barely into education. Let's say that.
A whole lot of Catholicism going on.
Yeah. So yeah, and so I learned a lot of new things because it's just two different like systems, and I feel like with Chicago, what we hear in the news, it's like, it's scary stuff. But in reality, Chicago also has a lot of good stuff, that doesn't get talked about enough.
Preach.
Yeah.
Real.
Yeah, and I saw a lot of the good stuff too, like the way things were operating, and obviously one bad thing happens, it's all over the news. But then there's 1,000 good things
that goes
well,
unrecognized.
Human nature. We don't really care about all the good stuff.
Good stuff. We don't care about that. What's the bad shit?
There's good stuff happening. What? I didn't know it was so bad. All right. So what's the good stuff and what's the bad stuff?
Just at least the schools I got to visit, like they had some technology. Some have more than others. Depending on where the school is and how it's all the back end stuff that I don't even know a lot about, like how the money gets allocated and things like that. But yeah, I saw students using technology. A lot of the success stories of like how like students just performing better with some new initiatives. I worked on some of the projects of like when the Venture card first came out, that CTA released.
Yeah.
So I worked on the project that basically got every student Venture card.
Really?
So that was one of my projects
dude.
I worked for CPS, is to roll out and make sure every student gets a Venture card so they can get to school.
Students,
that's a big thing.
Students. Y'all need to be thankful. When y'all see this dude, y'all see him on the train or something, don't walk up to him like y'all about to like grab his apple or something.
Give him a Dunkin'
man.
Donuts card for coffees in the morning.
Yeah, like
Give him a gift card to Amazon or something.
Yeah.
$5.
Yeah.
Just chip in the $5.
He made it easier.
Pool
for you
your
all to
money.
get school.
Hey, we gotta get the enrollment out of the way.
You know what I'm saying?
That's right. That's
We
right.
gotta make sure everyone has the transportation and get to school on time.
Yeah.
Because everybody ain't got that chicken. You know what I'm saying?
Great callback from our conversation before we went on air. I like that.
And so yeah, then versus now, we use so much technology into education, and it's not enough. And the goal for us is how do we use more relevant technology?
Okay.
And
what's relevant? What's more relevant technology? 'Cause I feel like the kids do have a lot of technology that they're that's available to them in schools now.
Yeah.
So what would be something that's more relevant that would be new?
Yeah. So some schools, for example, have iPads.
Okay, you're right.
Right. Now, not every school has one-on-one iPads.
Okay. So you mean that everyone has like a designated
Access.
Like, okay.
Right.
Gotcha.
Right.
Not introducing new items.
There's smart
Yeah.
boards.
And just also using it the right way. Like, yeah, so the right ways would be, learning robotics. Like Amazon, all their warehouses are completely automated now.
Okay.
Right? Robots are pretty much doing everything.
Yeah.
From getting your order to getting it into the package.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
That's true.
So learning about robotics, learning about coding, which coding is...
#learn to code.
Yeah, learn to code. And when I was in school, like, I barely learned anything about coding, right? And it's just so important. So when you learn how to code, you necessarily don't have to like pursue that career, but just knowing how technology works and how a software works or how Facebook works, knowing kind of the back end, it gives you more insight of just technology. You look at technology in a different way. So like we use various tools at our organization, and a lot of the tools, I look them as a video game.
Okay.
And using the tool for what we need versus, well, let me rephrase that. So like, I don't get intimidated by like a CRM or like any tool, right? We don't tell the CRM what to do. We tell this, so we don't let the CRM tell us what to do, but we use the other way. We design it so we know how we want to best use it.
Okay.
CRM, for those who don't know,
I was about to say
customer
that.
relationship manager. For us in the sales world, we know this, but for those of you who don't know what that means, it's customer relationship management software.
Yeah. So just, when you have that understanding of technology, you make things work for yourself, sort of thing. So your mentality changes. You don't get so handicapped by what's provided to you.
Yep. That's great.
Yeah. And what else?
What I would like to know a little bit more is, so you've got these various programs. What are some challenges right now you're seeing in the Chicago school atmosphere, right? I mean, you alluded to a couple of things. I have some theories, so I'm going to give you some quick questions. You had mentioned earlier that certain areas have more access than other areas.
Ooh.
I think. Oh, look, we're
gotta go there.
on this fucking podcast.
We gotta go there.
This is we're talking about the south and west sides, because this is a big area of contention in the city right now. Is who's getting funding to be able to do this and where is the money going, right? Rahm Emanuel was big on charter schools. They got a lot. Public schools, which is in our other segment here, there's schools in the south and west sides closing down for a variety of reasons. I don't want to get to that yet, but
charter schools aren't even doing well.
Not anymore.
Yeah.
That's right. So are you, as you're doing your programs for these kids and after school programs or even in schools during regular hours, are you noticing it's more any major challenges?
Absolutely. So one of the things so enrollment has been a challenge to a lot of the schools, right? How do we get the enrollment up? And then test scores and things like that. So we've definitely seen an improve when a school offers any sort of just STEM program or STEM initiative, the enrollment has gone up. Because students are interested in STEM, when especially it's like hands-on.
Those parents interested.
And implemented properly. And last year, there's 32 new STEM schools came on board. That regular neighborhood turned into STEM school in Chicago.
Smart.
And the idea is that slowly, schools are focusing and moving towards implementing a STEM program into the school, and we're seeing increase in enrollment. And as far as test scores, we haven't done a survey, but it's other companies have that have seen improvement in the test scores, and I can absolutely see why. I mean, the content we're teaching is it may not be direct to the test, but it's helping students build out of the skill sets that will eventually perform, help them perform better.
Well, that's a whole other issue with how the tests are formulated, what's on the tests, all the questions are phrased. These tests are not all the all end all be all, and there's been an issue. I don't even think in just CPS, but all over the country, but specific also here in Chicago, where teachers are teaching to the tests. They're not really teaching. Because that doesn't always necessarily give you the skills that you need to be successful. Where your company is Next Wave STEM is really more focusing on, these are the real world applications.
More hands-on.
Hands-on stuff.
And we do not do tests. We do not have test component in our program. We're more project-based. So every week there's a new project, and if a student can show that they did that project and they did it successfully, that's what the goal is right now, is helping spark interest in STEM.
Okay.
Right? That's the step one, is how do we spark that interest and get them interested and build a foundation for them. And then year after year, we present them with content, which is going to, continue to help them gain that skill set and eventually leading to careers where all this knowledge will come in handy and will help them grow. And
how's the enrollment? Is it like a lottery, like how the selective enrollment is for high school? Because I know there's, like I was saying, I know about Newberry Academy, this in Lincoln Park. Like I said, my kids, they were going there until Sam graduated. He goes to Jones, and Zoe goes to LaSalle, which is a language school now.
Nice.
But I know that it's not easy everyone can't go to those schools, especially if you're not in the neighborhood. So how can a parent that's interested in these schools and they're not necessarily in their district, is it possible that they could somehow get their child enrolled in that school?
Or in your program.
Or in your program.
Yeah, so we offer programs a few different ways. We offer after-school programs at different schools that we have partnerships with all over the city. Then we also started offering in-school programming. This is something we started last year. What that does is it brings the education to everybody. Whoever showed up for that day in the school will learn about STEM and the courses that we're offering, instead of just after school where a lot of kids have sports or other activities and they might just miss out on that whole chapter or the whole opportunity to get in STEM. So we started after school. Parents loved it, school loved it. Then we're like, okay, well, how do we get also girls interested, right? So then we came up with this whole plan of how about we do it in school. So now it's not very selective. It's everybody gets the opportunity to learn. And because there's so much excitement, now students are, because they're excited that they're going to be taught a drone coding program or a robotics program.
I want to learn that.
Or a 3D printing program.
Good. I'll stick to comedy.
Yeah.
This might fucking.
Yeah. So just different courses. We have 7 courses. We are launching an AI course this year for the younger students.
I think I'm about to enroll, man.
Yeah.
Well, it was nice knowing you, Ron.
Yeah.
How do I enroll? Guys, where's my birth certificate? I'm 7. I'm born in 2012.
Again, the idea is not to make everyone an expert, but these are things that are,
you get them exposed. And you can say, if this is something you're interested in, here's the foundation, here's the building blocks, and now, at the end of the day, all you need is a spark.
Yes.
A spark of interest, and then just let the little children fly.
Sprout their wings and fly away.
JJ Watt said in last week's matchup when he came back.
What did he say? Oh, when he came back from the injury?
From the injury, he's like, all we need is a little spark.
Yeah.
And they started, I don't think they started very hot. And then he went and talked, and he's like, yeah, all we need is a little spark. And they ended up winning that game.
Yeah, they wish they had a spark that lasted yesterday.
Yeah.
They sparked. And they kind of sparked out.
Right, right. So constant spark, constant exposure.
Exactly. Yeah.
Consistency is key. And that's so important, because once you also just get a little exposure but never come back to it, that's also not good, because now you're not really expanding that. You
gotta work that muscle too.
To
attain that stuff.
Yeah. It's like going working out one day and out.
This is the real revenge of the nerds, okay? The nerds are coming. They're growing in size. You better watch out, jocks. There's not going to be as many jocks. All the football players,
That's
NFL,
true. First of all,
CTE going down.
No, exactly.
Nerds are rising. What's happening?
The new version.
Revenge of the nerds.
To the nerds.
Revenge of the nerds.
Yeah.
No, but I'm okay with that. Sounds phenomenal. Let me give some, I've got some statistics here.
Let's do it.
For STEM, okay? So and Udit can test these are correct. This is from IDTech.com.
They're not from Wikipedia. Okay, I was just going to say that. Hopefully they're not from Wikipedia.
No, IDTech.
We do not get our information off Wikipedia.
But we do donate. Just kidding, we don't.
No.
All right,
Hey.
so
Y'all need to donate to our Patreon account.
oh, that's true. We'll talk about that in a little bit later. So STEM jobs are projected to grow by about 13% between 2017 and 2027. That's the projection. Overall, since 1990, 90s babies. Employment in STEM occupations has grown 79%, increasing from 9.7 million to 17.3 million. That's from Pew Research Center.
Sounds about right.
Average median hourly wage for STEM jobs is almost $40, $38.85. That sounds nice. I'll take that. Compared to median earning for all other types of jobs in the U.S., it's only about $20, $19.30. So if you're in the STEM, you're doing well. You're making that big old bango boongo bucks, man. Bing bang boom bang, bang boom. I was trying to think of stuff with bees. Bees. Out of 100 STEM occupations, 93% of them had wages above the national average. So, I'm getting, there's a theme happening here with some of these statistics. It's like, if you get in this and you do it, you're going to have a nice life. You're going to be able to, go to the Super Bowl. The national anthem, buy tickets for as long as it lasts for another decade and go to the basketball game, I guess, after that, and then hockey, and then, I don't know, whatever you like.
All-star game, too, with the tickets.
Yeah, soccer. Well, that's another topic. National average for STEM job annual salaries is $87,570. Why didn't I learn these things in school? Son of a gun.
That's what I asked myself.
Jesus. All right, national average for all other jobs is about half of that, $45,700. So there is an increasing demand for STEM jobs. U.S. has placed 38th of 71 countries in math and 24th in science.
Good. Not good. Not good.
I thought we were
It's
worse
also-
than that.
Yeah. Of 35 members of the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, the U.S. ranks 30th. Oh, God. In math and 19th in science. Ugh. Only 36% of all high school grads are ready to take college-level science courses. Fuck. This is depressing. U.S. universities are expected to produce only 29% of the required number of graduates. That is to fill the 1.4 million computer specialist job openings. Okay, now this is something, all right, here we go. I like these. These next few stats are exactly where I wanted to go. So I'm going to read out these stats and we're going to talk about this for a few minutes.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. 74% of middle school girls express an interest in engineering, science, and math, but only 0.3% choose computer science as a major when they get to college. Intriguing. Women make up only about 18% of computer science undergrads, even though women earn roughly 57% of bachelor's degrees. That's a whole other thing. Girls' interest in STEM peaks in middle school, but drops off in high school. Okay, I want to find out about that from you. Are you seeing that? And then here's two other interesting facts. African American and Latino workers also now represent 29% of the general workforce population, up from 24% in 2001, but only 16% of the advanced manufacturing workforce, and only 15% are in the computing workforce, and only 12% of African Americans and Latinos make up the engineering workforce. So predominantly white and Asian, I would imagine. Minority women participation in STEM at the collegiate level is only 3.1% in engineering, 6.5% in physical sciences, 5.4% in math, and 4.8% in computer science. So they're underrepresented. Now, those are some statistics. Again, this is from idtech.com. Udit,
Yes.
are you seeing similar trends based on some of these statistics that I've just rattled off here? I'm very interested because you're dealing, I imagine, with middle school kids.
Yeah.
Do you do high school or just
We do.
middle school? Okay. Oh, perfect.
We do K through 12.
All right. So,
We got courses.
Are you seeing
we got
these-
something for everybody.
is this stuff seeming accurate?
Yeah. It's very accurate. And there's a few different reasons. We're talking about consistency, like people dropping out at in high school at one of the codes, and it's more about consistency. Constant exposure to STEM is key, because a lot of schools right now have some sort of STEM program, but it's kind of one-off.
Yeah.
And the goal for us is to really make things consistent. So it's like learning about science and one of your grades throughout K through 12, and then you never learn about science.
Wow.
So yeah, it's bringing consistency is one of our goals. So what we have started doing is, so all of our topics that we cover, drone coding, robotics, 3D printing, AI, we are now training the educators. We're providing them professional development. What that allows is allows educators to get comfortable with these new technologies, because it can be a lot. They have a lot to do day-to-day basis, and they don't always have time to go get professional development out of their busy schedule.
Because they have lives, presumably, kids of their own and such.
Yeah.
Teachers gotta live, gotta get that bread. You know what I'm saying? Get that bread.
Yeah. And so yeah, that's something we started doing this past fall, is that we're providing teachers with curriculum, providing them with professional development, and providing them with all the classroom course equipment. So drones, robots, 3D printing. So then they can start teaching this during school time as part of their science program, or a lot of schools have some sort of like a technology program. Started offering like a STEM course in their high school, or even K through 8. And so it's really allowing schools to bring more consistency. It's allowing schools to help with different areas like enrollment, and just parents are freaking out about all the job landscape that's changing,
right.
and everyone wants to make sure that their kids are learning the most relevant.
It's absolutely
the most relevant education.
It's changing daily.
It's changing daily. Like, you want to.
I mean, keep up on this shit.
The worst thing a parent can feel like afraid for their child is to, their children go to school and they get out there and they're like, oh my God, my child is not prepared. Like, what the hell did we do? And that's like one of the things where it's too late. It's like they're a senior about to graduate.
Dad, can you help me with this math problem? Holy shit, what the hell is this? Ask your mom. Even for parents, or just adults now, if you're not keeping up with all this stuff, if you're not involved with that, and then your kids are asking you for help with some stuff, something like that, there's no way you're going to be able to help.
Right. So
you need a program like what Udit's doing here to teach the kids, and then also tell the kids what you learn right now is not just the end of it.
No.
Technology is progressing at such a rapid pace.
Absolutely.
That what you learn today is basically obsolete by the next year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it's like you gotta constantly
but giving that platform, so it keeps building
and keep it getting the interest in the subject matter.
Yeah.
In general is really the key driver, right?
Absolutely.
Because once you have a child invested in the subject matter, you would hope that they will become a life learner, and then you don't have to worry about motivating them to learn. They will do it on their own.
Yeah.
And that's the key to your program.
You feel like they'll be able to just roll out.
A 40-minute podcast, and we broke it down in one simple phrase.
That's right.
No, but the details matter. The
Details always matter.
The details always matter. Right. So, one last question. We got to wrap up here in a few moments and get to the jug off of the week. But last quick question, and then we'll cover more in the next segment, couch stories. But last question I have for you. So the key is getting the interest, creating the interest. For both boys and girls.
Yes.
Based on the statistics, girls have a peak interest, but then it drops off. I'm not going to get into all the psychological stuff between men and women and why that happens, everything else. So there's now also an issue with boys in colleges not graduating as much. Girls are graduating more, but okay. So there's a whole lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Well, let's just stick to the step. How do you, Udit Agarwal, creator, founder, CEO, president of Next Wave STEM.
Just in case you all just tuned in.
nextwavestem.com. How do you find is the best way to go about doing that? Within your program, obviously. I mean, that's what your company is based around. But what, in your personal experience, have you seen, or is the thing that you've seen about your program that you've witnessed this inspiration, this eureka moments happening in these young child's minds that you say, these kids are going to be the next engineers and creators of the world one day?
A lot of aha moments. So I remember going, whenever I pop into school, and when I first started this, and we started teaching about robotics, and we saw one of the things we do in the program in the robotics course is that students get to build a robot from scratch, put all the pieces together, and learn about what each piece is going to do once it's all built. And once it's built and the light turns on, that's when the students like, wow, I just built something
from beginning,
and it works, and it's about to, this is, it's about to do something cool. No.
You hope they be addicted, like, I want to build more.
Yeah.
Has any child ever asked, will this thing kill me at some point? Is Skynet around?
Students,
John Connor, where are you?
I know, right? Terminator.
iRobot.
Students come up with a lot of creative questions, and a lot of them are very legitimate questions about the curiosity is next level. Yeah, the curiosity is next level. Like when students see all this happening in the classroom and they get to participate, like their mind is thinking next level.
Mr. Agarwal, I read that Elon Musk said if we keep going into robotics, that the robots are going to eventually be smarter us and kill us. Is this a good subject matter to be going into?
I don't know why a kid would sound like that. He's going through puberty, apparently. Or I am. But that would be a good question.
Yeah.
Honestly, because it means, hey.
No, nothing's stealing jobs. It's just that the way that the job landscape is changing. So the jobs that used to be like that we wanted so many people for, now it's being automated with these robots and things. But then there's new jobs that are being created, and that's what the goal is, that we're getting students ready for those new jobs.
Yeah, and there's a lot of new jobs being created. So these kids that's getting ahead of this, they are really putting themselves in a good position.
Yeah.
And kids that aren't, they won't be qualified to work into these new jobs. So we're gonna have a lot of people that's like underemployed.
Yep.
Natural selection, Darwinianism. So, no, but more kids should be interested in this. I think
it sounds great.
It sounds great to me.
I mean, kids, it's technology. This is what they want. Why wouldn't you want to learn something that's going to have you, it's going to take you down a road that's going to be very successful?
Yeah.
This is where it's going.
There's money in it.
We
read off the stats.
There's a lot of money.
$40 an hour.
There's a lot of money in it, and it's not going to change, like you said. It's going to only continue to evolve.
Expand.
So,
I mean, with all the stuff that's going on, they're building robots like crazy, the AI, all of this stuff. At some point, it's going to get to the point where humanity in general is just going to be in front of a fucking computer screen coding all the time.
it's happening.
Virtual reality, all of this stuff.
All that
There's
stuff.
so many things coming out. Hell, if you want to do a video game, coding. So, this is, and some of us like to play video games. So kids,
Facts.
pay attention.
Facts.
Quick question. This is a quick question. And then we're going to get to the jag off of the week. Right now, Udit, what would you say if you were going to, if a child came up to you and said, of all of the STEM subjects I should focus on first or the most, which one would you recommend?
Oh.
It's a deep question, huh?
Very.
And he said it was a quick one.
The question was quick, but coming up with the answer is not so quick.
I get in and then I get out.
Your part was quick.
He trying to get the hell out of here, man.
Just like other parts of my life. Aha!
Man, you got like 5 cameras on your
And it's been yelling ass
Whatever,
laugh,
as
too.
long as people get a laugh, I don't care.
I would say all, but I'll just say drones.
Drones, okay. Interesting.
They're all important, but I'll just say drones.
Here is your package.
Yeah.
And drones work, obviously.
Yeah, because I mean, drones technically are robots,
Yes.
right? And I was having this conversation with this guy who's in aviation for like dozens of years, and we're talking about how we have roads and streets here. There's gonna be like streets and roads kind of mapped out in the sky for drones. So it's like it's like
So
it's
air
gonna
traffic
be-
controllers for drones.
It's gonna be like for drones and like
Yeah.
anything like drone related, because just think about like if your package is being delivered through the sky,
They
it's gotta
gotta
follow a certain route
Yep.
and not
Right.
interfere with the
Other
the
drones flying
airplanes
around.
and other
Dude, that's gonna be
drones
crazy.
and
That.
Now, when they equip the drones with lasers, that's when to really freak out.
Yeah.
Dude, you and this whole
Don't hit the red button.
the world is coming to an end.
He acts like drones don't already have lasers.
Exactly.
It's like
They already
that
got it,
scene
man.
in
They equipped
Avengers,
you.
not Avengers, Guardians of the Galaxy, where they tell Groot, "Now don't press that button, press this button," and the kid's like, "Press this button." I am Groot. You know, it's like that. Like, don't press that button, kid. Ooh, what does this do? Oh, I killed someone. Oops. Legalese, attorneys, settlements. So, okay, so drones is your answer. Okay, very interesting. Now, I'm just going to cover one last quick thing, then we're going to do the Jag of the week. I just want to touch on it because we mentioned it at the top, and that is that there actually is a legitimately huge enrollment issue in the city of Chicago right now. Sounds like, based on what you've said, I'm sure you could share statistics with us on this, but it sounds like having a STEM program helps enrollment in schools in general. However, I don't know if it would help these schools. There's, particularly in the west side and south side, there are just schools where they have like 58 kids for a capacity of 2,000. Old, rundown schools, horrible situations. And they're just moving kids to other schools, shutting down schools. And there's a lot of reasons for this, and it's a whole other topic we can't really cover in just like 2 minutes, but I thought it was worth mentioning because we did kind of talk about it, and it relates to STEM in a way. I don't think having a STEM program can alleviate this entire problem.
No.
Because there's a whole other issue here of redistricting and population loss in general. Chicago is the only city last decade that had a general decline in population amongst every other major metropolitan area.
It's a mass exodus here.
Because of taxes. And JB Chris was like, I got the solution, everybody.
Don't leave.
Legal weed. Come back. Come back. Smoke. It's free. It's free. No, well, it's legal. Legally free.
You're not giving away free weed.
No, I can't do that. Pay for that shit. That's a whole other thing. But I find that a very interesting thing. I don't know if you've noticed a whole lot of that in your programs at all. But
Yeah,
I'll leave that with you for the final word on this topic.
Yeah, with the enrollment, it's definitely helping, but it's like we're doing one positive thing when there, it needs a lot of other things need to happen to like fix the whole problem. But we're doing one positive thing to, kind of spark that, interest back and drive that enrollment, which is happening. So, we're happy that, we're doing one positive thing to drive, to help with that issue. But
It's a huge positive thing.
Very positive thing, and you got to start somewhere.
Yeah.
You got to start.
It's that spark.
spark.
Got to start throwing dirt into the hole to get it back to level.
Yeah.
That's a phrase.
Absolutely. Justin, you definitely got to fill that hole back in.
Fill the
So
hole.
it's level.
Until it's level. Just like Chicago pothole.
Nice. That was solid.
You making this up. It's just throw the gravel
This
until it
guy.
gets filled so you
This
can
guy.
drive on the road.
All right.
All right. Well, with that, that was a very interesting conversation. I enjoyed that.
Absolutely.
Thank you for sharing your insights, Udit. I want to talk more, but unfortunately, we only have you for so much time, and we have to move on
We got to move on, man.
to our
been great.
to our
Tired of talking, man.
to our favorite. Well,
We
well,
normally
we'll
talk
let
all the
yeah.
time.
You're more interesting than us in
You're
this
way
case.
more interesting. That's why I said Band-Aid, man.
Yeah, like a Band-Aid.
Yep.
Crazy.
I could talk all day.
Yeah, well, it seems to be the Chicago thing, putting Band-Aids on problems instead of actually healing the wound.
It's the Chicago way.
STEM is the Neosporin.
Yeah, there you go.
Chicago's
Yeah,
problems.
stupid. Nice.
Oh!
Okay, and that note,
And on that note,
we need to
it's
get
time
to
moving
the-
right along.
right along.
In other news, it's time for our favorite segment of every episode. Ron, it is time for
The Jag-Off of the Week. All right, y'all. I'm gonna do it today.
Yes, Ron, tell us who the Jag-Offs are.
Yo,
This
all right.
week's Jag-Offs.
It's a 2-for-1 this week. It's gonna be I'm just gonna read this article, okay, and then we're gonna get right to it. Houston Astros general manager Jeff Luhnow and manager AJ Hinch were fired by owner Jim Crane on Monday afternoon after Major League Baseball announcement of discipline following the sign stealing scandal. Okay, they stealing, and they cheating, y'all. A league investigation confirmed the Astros had cheated by using camera-based sign stealing system during the regular season and playoffs of their World Series winning 2017 season, and during that part of the 2018 regular season. I'm gonna stop right there. That is ridiculous. That's like what the Patriots was doing, like on steroids.
Deflategate.
I mean, Deflategate, Spagate. They were stealing signs or allegedly.
Signal stealing gate.
Yeah, man.
Gate.
So these guys were fired. First, the Major League Baseball actually banned them for a year. And then I think like 30, 45 minutes afterwards, the owner just cut.
Like, well, it's about that time to hit the old dusty trail.
That is, but here's the thing. So not only these guys jag-offs, but they actually caused the organization to have to pay for what's going on. They lose 2 first-round draft picks for next year, 2020, for this year, 2020 and 2021, and they got fined $5 million.
Well, Houston, it was fun while it lasted. Enjoy being mediocre and shitty for the at least next decade, because you'll be on setback.
Yeah, so there's definitely a problem in Houston.
Oh, I like that.
Like that
Houston,
one.
you have a problem, and it starts with your baseball team.
Mhm.
Udit, are you a baseball fan of any type?
Definitely not the Astros.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, are those picks coming to Chicago?
You
Oh,
know,
that'd be nice.
we could definitely use them, but probably we'd screw that up too. I'm kind of upset with Chicago sports right now.
Yeah.
Y'all.
Well, the Sox look like they might be good.
Hey, the Sox
Well,
actually have put together a powerhouse, but I'm not gonna hold my breath. I love the South Side, but I gotta wait and see what happens.
But I'll tell you what, Ron, interesting thing.
What's
You
that?
said that they were using a signal stealing camera, something or other, right?
Yep.
You know what's interesting is you can learn, kids, how to program those signal stealing cameras and software by going to nextwavestem.com and being part of one of Nextwave STEM's program, STEM, where you can steal signals so your baseball team can win. Don't just try to win, honestly, cheat. That's the best way to go about it. Learn how to code, kids. All right,
Nice.
thank you.
Improv commercials. Yeah.
Well, yes, and watch. That's one thing that we're going to be doing now is that. But before we get to that, let's end this segment. So please, who are these gentlemen again?
These 2 gentlemen are Jeff Luhnow, if I'm pronouncing his name correctly, Luhnow, and manager AJ Hinch. You 2 are
Jag-offs. You fucking jag-offs. You cheating jag-offs. Udit, you want to give a jag-off to these guys?
Jag-off.
Jag-off.
There you have it.
There you go. You're a bunch of jag-offs, and that was jag-off of the week. Now, this episode is being sponsored by Nextwave STEM. Nextwave STEM, a wonderful company that helps children learn about STEM. STEM stands for science, technology, engineering, and math. Would you like your child to earn $40 an hour potentially? Would you like your child to come home and be interested in the things that happen at school? When you ask your child, what did you do at school today? Would you like your child to actually answer you and seem excited about what they learned at school? Well, we have the solution for you at Nextwave STEM and at nextwavestem.com. You can learn about all of the STEM programs that can help your child be interested in what they're actually doing at school, or in fact, after school, because that's right, Next Wave STEM also offers after school programs. So if you want to go on that date with your wife because she's been nagging you for a long time, then just send your kids to Next Wave STEM after school programs. So you get yourselves a couple hours. Or if you're having that long day at work and you need a couple extra hours to get that project done, send your kids to Next Wave STEM after school programs. Or if you're an educator and you're like, I don't have enough material to do my job, then go to Next Wave STEM, because they do professional services to help you get the criteria that you need to do better, to make your kids interested, so you're not just staring at blank faces when you're in a classroom. Next Wave STEM. Go there for all of your STEM needs. NextWaveSTEM.com, NextWaveSTEM.com.
You know the problems I have with blank faces talking to kids.
Yes, I know. I've seen your kids.
That's
the Next Wave STEM. Didn't think you were going to get a free commercial out of that, did you? Well, you did, Udit. There you go. And with that, you are welcome, sir. You can, we'll bill you later.
Nothing's free.
Nothing's free. Well, it is on this podcast for you, my friend. So that concludes another episode of the Chicago 60 Podcast. I am your illustrious host once again, Justin Jaywar. I'd like to thank my co-host, Ron Russell, for being here. Thank you, Ron, for being here and your wonderful insights and commentary. I appreciate you. I want to thank Quiet Storm and Norman in the booth, doing all the stuff over there. Thank you, Quiet Storm and Norman. You are doing a phenomenal job. We love you so much. You have a very fine hat. And, of course, I really want to thank our special guest, Udit Agarwal, for being on the podcast. Thank you very much, sir. We really appreciate you coming out. I know you weren't feeling well earlier today, and I really appreciate your dedication and coming on here, because we were really excited to have you on.
Absolutely.
Udit, for the people at home, please tell them where they can find you. I know I've already said your website, but if there's any other platforms or anything you'd like the people to know about, where they can find you personally or about your company, please let them know right now.
Yeah, so Wave, that's WAVE, STEM, STEM.com. Need to reach me, I'm on LinkedIn. My first name is spelled UDIT, last name AGARWAL. Connect with me on LinkedIn. Just holler at me if you need more information or just want to connect and, talk about STEM.
All right.
Fantastic. If you want to talk about STEM, go talk to Udit. Okay, and with that, if you liked what you listened here today, or we're watching here today, then please support us, Chicago 60, Blue Line Entertainment Group LLC, and JNR Media. And here's how you can do that. First, if you're listening to this on iTunes or on Spotify, then please hit subscribe and leave us a 5-star review. It helps us with the rankings so that people can learn about what's going on in this wonderful city that we call Chicago. Also, if you're watching on YouTube, hit the subscribe button and then the little notification bell, because then you're going to get all of the videos. That includes this podcast.
What were you
Couch
doing
Stories.
with your fingers?
It's the bell. It's a very small icon.
Okay. All right.
So hit the little tiny bell, and then you're going to get all the notifications of all videos of this podcast, Couch Stories, which is coming up here in a moment with Udit Agarwal right there. Also, all of our comedy sketch videos, which will be coming out, and we have new ones, and they are numerous. So you'll be getting all of those. So please go and do that. If you are on Facebook, hit the like and follow button, because most of the content we put on is on the face of the book. As long as that still exists. We don't know where Mark Zuckerberg is going or how long he's going to last, but as long as it's there, content will be on there on our page. So go there and like and follow us there. And if you want to see us on any other platform, then you're going to have to support us on our Patreon page, which we will be launching very shortly. So please help us out. Donate a couple, $2-3 so that we can keep doing amazing content. Go do all that and keep watching every Monday, 7:30 p.m. for a new episode of the podcast. See you next week, everybody. But before we do, we have our final favorite phrase, number 3.
You know what?
Right there.
I really mean this one today.
I do, because
I really mean this.
That game yesterday.
This is going. It hurts my soul. But saying this makes me feel a little good.
This is going to make me feel real good.
Ready whenever you are.
Udit, please help us with our favorite phrase of all time, and that is, bear down and fuck Fuck the Packers. All right, everybody, that was an episode of the Chicago City Podcast. We will see you next week with another very special guest. Goodbye.
All right, say like, look at this camera right here, the iPhone, the gray one.
Yeah.